Hello guys, welcome to Coding Cafe. My name is Mohammed Ali, and in this tutorial we are going to finally work on the search fragment where we will allow an online user to search for different people who are using this app. So for that, first of all, we need to create a layout, basically XML layout. So right click on layout, new layout resource file, and we can just give it name as user search underscore item underscore layout, user search item layout. Then press OK, and let's go to the XML code, and first of all make sure to change this constant layout to the relative layout. Now the important thing is to make sure that our width will be match parent and the height, make sure to change this to wrap content. Now we need to add a circle image which will be 60 dp and the height will be 60 dp. Now let's just give some ID, and the ID for this will be profile underscore image, and let's just add some source to it so that we can see the design how it looks. So inside the drawable folder we have an image by the name IC underscore profile, and if I show you here you can see it. Now the next thing is to add a text view in order to display the name. Wrap content. Let's just close this and let's give ID to this, and the ID for this will be user name. Let's add some text here in order to see the design. So you can say user name, and we have to move this username here, I mean after this profile, to the right side of it. So we can just simply say to right of ID and pass the profile underscore image ID here. Also we can make it, I mean here we have to align it at, you can say at the center alongside with the image. So we can just say center in parent to true, and here we go. Let's give some margin from the left side now, and it will be 12 dp, and the text size you have to increase, and it will be 19 sp. Let's just see how it looks. Here you can see it. Now the next thing we need is to basically add an icon here which will display, basically which will tell us about the online and offline status of a user, that is if a user is online or offline. So for that we can use the same circle image view, and we will change it for that. So below this text view, let's just paste that circle image view and make sure to first of all change the ID for this. So for this we can say image underscore online, image online, and the width for this will be 16 dp, and then the height will also be 16 dp. Let's give it green color, I mean to the border. So we can say CIV border color. So the green color code is hash 05 small d small f 29, and here you can see it, this green color. Now the next thing is to add basic width for our this. So you can say CIV border width, and the width will be 12 dp. And now just for the design, I mean if you want you can add a source. By the way, we have already added this, which is IC underscore profile. Let's change it to the profile, and if I show you, then you can see this small green circle, or you can say the small green dot here at the top. Now we have to move it here. So for that, what we are going to do, and by the way we have two icons, basically one is by the name profile which we downloaded in the previous tutorial, and the other one is the IC profile. So whatever the source you add here, you want to add here, it will display here. Okay, and let's move this below the username. So we can just pass this ID here, and then margin from the top will be 12 dp, and margin left will be 15 dp, and after margin left we have to move it to the right side. So we can say to right of and then pass the username ID here, and here you can see it is moved here. So what we are going to do here now is to, we can set to end of ID, and we have to move it here, I mean alongside with this profile. So copy the profile underscore image ID, come here and paste that here. Now here you can see it, this is the icon, and if we give it margin from the left, right, minus 15 dp, and here you can see it, let's just move it a little bit further, minus 16 dp. Okay, here you can see it, it is now more beautiful. Let's just change the width to 19 and also the height to 19 dp, and it will look more amazing. Okay, so it is, I mean, totally depend upon you how you love the design. You can just do the changes according to this. Here you can see it. So when it is of this green color, then it represents the online status. Okay, that's why we give it ID image online, and the next one is basically the offline, so we will display gray color in that case. So let's just copy paste this circle image view, and down below after this circle image view you can just paste it and make sure to change the ID to image offline, and by default the visibility for our online will be gone, and same is for this one. And make sure to change the color for our image underscore offline to gray color, which is BF BF BF. And if I show you, then here you can see it. Also, let's just quickly make this invisible by default. Now the last thing that we need is here to add another text view at the bottom, where we will basically display the last message, which you can say that the recent message. So for that, what we need to do is, let's just quickly copy this text view, and we can just paste it down below our offline image offline. Just paste it here and change this to message underscore last. And please do not add this text here, okay, because we will display this text tree only on our chats, which is basically here, not on our search. We will use the same layout basically for our chats. Okay, hope you know, I hope you understand this. If you not, then don't worry, just do exactly what I'm doing here. And what I am simply saying is that we will use this same user search item layout when we will be displaying the chats here on our chats fragment. Okay, that's why we are adding this text view, which is for the last message here. So to right of profile image, and let's give some margin from the top, and it will be 14 dp, and remove this center in parent and margin left. Okay, just remove this center in parent, and margin left will be 20 dp, and padding will be 6 dp, and maximum lines that we want to show is basically 1, so we can say max line 1. Text color will be color primary dark, sorry, and this must be below our username, so make sure to pass the username text view ID here. Here you can see it, it moved below the username. So yeah, that's it. Separate package for our adapter classes, so we can just say adapter classes, and now let's create, let's add a Kotlin class, first one adapter to it. So select class and then write user adapter and press enter. So it has been created here. This user adapter class will receive some parameters, 3 parameters basically. The first one will be the context, so we can just give it name as mContext, and it will be of type context. Put a comma, and the second parameter it need is, let's just give it some proper shape so that we can understand it easily. The second one its need is basically a list that we will pass here to this adapter, and it will be by the name use users list, and by the way it will be of type list, and pass the users model class in here. Put a comma, and then we need a variable which will basically check the chats. Okay, so we can create it by the name is chat check, which will be of type boolean. So it will be the last third parameter that we will pass to our this adapter class. So boolean, and remove the comma from the last one because this is the last parameter, okay, that it will receive. Then after this we can say call recycler view dot adapt user adapter dot class. Sorry, we will create now this class which will be by the name view holder, where we will basically access the controllers of our this layout. I mean the username, profile image, and all these things inside our this class. So make sure to put a question mark here and then these two columns, I mean these two braces or these things. Okay, now let's just quickly create this view holder class. So we can just simply say class view holder item view of type view colon recycler view dot view holder item view, and then in here we have a variable, I mean we have a text view by the name not the name, let's create a variable first for each and every controller. So username, we can give it name as txt, which is of type text view, and let's just copy paste this 4 times. The next one is circle image view for our profile, so we can say profile image view, and it is of type circle image view. And then we have further to circle image view for the online status and for the offline status, so we can give it name as online txt, and then which means txt basically means text view. Okay, these are the names. Okay, you can give it any name you want, but use the same variable's name so that you cannot get confused. Anyways, offline txt, and then we have finally a last message text view, so we can say last message, and it is of type text view. Let's just initialize it, so we can say init, and inside this init first of all we have username txt, and by the way this is an image view, not txt, for the online and offline. Okay, so let's give it proper name, I mean to the variable names. So we can say item view dot find view by id or dot id dot, and the id for our username is username. Just copy it, come here and paste it, and make sure to import this r if it shows this red line. Okay, and then we have the other one. Let's just copy this now quickly 4 times. Then we have profile image view, then we have online image, and then we have this one for the offline, and then last message txt. And make sure to change the IDs for all of these. I'm going to remove this first because most of the time I just forget to change the IDs for these things. So anyways, for the image online we have image online, so it is here online, and then we have another one which is image offline for the offline image view, and then we have the last one which is message last. Just paste that here. And for the profile we have id by name profile underscore image. So that's it. So these are the controllers that we access here inside our this view holder. Now the next important thing is to add also this user layout. I mean how this user adapter will know that to which XML file all these controllers belongs. So for that you can just click here, okay, and you will see this red bulb. Just click on it and implement members. So for that we have this function which is on create view holder, and then we have the get item count function, or you can say method, a built-in method, which is basically used to get the total number of childs from our list, okay, that is how many data exist in our database. So we have to pass the size here. And on bind view holder, basically we use to display the data on our these controllers that we just initialize here, okay, I mean the offline, online, last message, username, profile image, all these things. So anyways, just select all of these, click OK. It is added here successfully. Make sure to remove the comments. Going to remove these comments quickly, and then let's just move these three functions to the top. Control X from here and paste that here. So first of all, in our get item count, the list that we will pass here to our this adapter, which is by the name muser, we have to return the type here. So we can just say return musers. Oh, sorry, first of all here we have to say that private, we have to initialize this. So private context, obviously it is of type context. Then we have our list, which is by the name musers, user model class to it, pass the user model class to it. And then we have private, we can just copy paste it quickly from here, which is this one, which is of type boolean. Sorry, private variable is boolean. And let's just initialize this. So we can use init function, and inside this init we can say that this dot musers equals to musers, this dot context equals to context, which we are basically receiving here, okay, and we are assigning it this dot is chat equals to is chat check. So these are the parameters that we are receiving here, okay, I mean which we are receiving, which this class user adapter are receiving as a parameter. And then we are assigning these value, I mean which comes here, the data that which this basically received, and we are assigning it to our these variables, private variables, which is the context, musers, is chat check. So muser list is assigned to this one, which basically means to this private well muser, and same for the context and is chat check. Now let's just quickly access our, okay, here I forgot to do this, which is musers dot size, and let's just add access our this user item layout. We have to add it here. So inside on create view holder, all we need is we can just simply say well view, which is of type view, equals to layout in flat dot from, pass the context here dot inflat or dot layout dot user underscore search item layout, this one, comma, and after this comma we have to pass our this view group. And let me tell you, I mean sometimes in your case maybe this variable name is different, I mean the object name for our view group, okay, you can change it, or I mean in some time it is different. So some, I mean the people who are beginners, they just get confused that what basically it means. So you can give it any name you want to it, okay, that is I'm going to give it name as view group, the object for this view group, okay. So you can just pass anything which is written here, I mean whatever name you want to give to it, you can just write here, that is view group comma false, and then we can return user adapter dot view holder, and we have to pass this view to it. So now our user adapter knows that user search item layout has these controllers, and we can now just retrieve the data inside our I mean the data which this list contains, which this list will contain basically, which this user adapter is receiving as a parameter. We have to get the data from our this list and display it here inside our onBind view holder using these controllers. So in here in our onBind view holder, we can just say come here to the main activity, and from here you can just copy these 3 line of code, come back to the user adapter and just paste it here. And now let's just do the changes. So well, user model class, and then we can say mu and pass the position. So integer variable type, I mean variable name is position. You can change the name of this variable to I or to anything you want, but you have to pass this position variable, which is of type integer here. In our case we change it to I, so you can just pass that variable name here. And once you do this, the next thing is you can just say holder and remove this username dot, we have username text view dot text equal to user dot get username, and then Picasso dot get dot load, and for the profile image we can just say holder dot profile image view. That's it. So this is all about our user adapter. Now the important thing is to go to our search fragment and to first retrieve the users from the database and to store it in a list, and we have to pass that list to this user adapter as a parameter and the context from the search fragment and this is check boolean type variable. So for that we have to go to our fragment, which is by the name search fragment, and here we can say that, and this view is of type view, and then we have to return this. So you can say return view. So let's just first create an instance of our user adapter. So we can just say private variable user adapter, it is of our user adapter class. Let's just initialize it with a null. Then we need to create a list and a ref by the name m users, it is of type list. We have to pass users model class to it and initialize this with a null. So in here in our own create, let's just set m users, it is basically an array list, and let's create a function by the name retrieve all users, and we have to retrieve all the users in our this function, and we have to save all of these users in our this array list, which is by the name m users. So let's just create this function retrieve all users. Here you go, this is our function. Sorry. So inside this we can just say Firebase user, Firebase, instead of giving the type of this to Firebase user, what we are going to do is we can just say variable Firebase user equals to, we can just quickly do it like this also, Firebase dot get instance dot current user dot UI, and make sure to add the non-inserted call here. And instead of giving it name as Firebase user, we can just say that Firebase user ID, because this variable now contains the ID. Now we need to create a reference to our users node. So just for the time saving, go to the main activity, and I am just going to copy this reference quickly from here. Control C, go back to the search fragment and just paste that here, and we can give it reference user equals to Firebase database get instance dot reference and pass the Firebase user ID here, Firebase user ID. You can say reference users dot, sorry, make sure to remove dot this thing, okay, because we are retrieving all the users, not a specific user from our database. Just remove this dot child Firebase user ID. the reference must be up to the user's node. Only then we are going to retrieve all the users, I mean here in this case. So sorry for that. Add value event object colon value event listener, and then in here we have two functions, which is on data change, remove the comment. The second one is on cancel, remove the comment. And in we have to first make sure that our user m user, which is array list, you have to make this empty. Sorry, not empty, I mean clear if there is anything in it from before. And then by using for loop we can say snapshot in PO, which is basically object name for our data snapshot. So you can say in PO dot children. Now which simply means that is on our users dot children, and it will get all the users from our users node. Okay, so we have to add that data in our m user array list. So we can just simply say that copy this thing from here, come back to the search fragment. Well, users po dot get value users class dot java. Here we can say, now here we are going to add a checker. I mean, if you want you can add this also, which is a really valid reason, which is basically an online user cannot search his own profile. Like let's say I'm an online user, my name is Muhammad Ali, and if I type Muhammad Ali, then it must not display my profile. I can search for other users other than my own account. Okay, like people who are not basically, I mean who are basically other people, not my account, that is. And as you know that each user carry their own ID, so on the basis of that ID we have to differentiate between the online user, or you can say the user own ID, and the other people IDs. So let's just add a checker. So here we can simply add this exclamation, and we can say that if user dot get UID, let's just give it separate brackets. Okay, make sure to add non-exempted call here. So if this thing dot equals to Firebase user ID, so if the user ID, since you know that exclamation mark means not, okay, so if this user ID which is in our array list, if this is not equals to the Firebase user ID, which is an online user ID, so if this is not equals to this, then other than the Firebase user ID, which means that let's say I'm Muhammad Ali, except my own account, we have to get all the users from our this users node, and we have to add all of these users in this user m users array list. So let's just quickly do this. I mean, all we're gonna need is just write this dot add and pass each and every user to this except the online I mean my own account, and in your case your account, I mean the user who will be logged in and who is going to search for people. And after this for, we can just say user adopt equals to user adopt. We have to pass the context, make sure to add non-asserted call here, and we have to pass the second parameter, which is the m users array list. Make sure to add non-asserted call here, and the third one is boolean type variable, which is either true or false. In this case it will be false. Now this function is basically retrieving all the users. Okay, we have set a reference on our this user node, we are retrieving all these users, and we are adding this one by one to our this m user array list except my own account, I mean except the user own account, in your case your account, I mean except the user own account, I mean the user can search for other users. Now this is just all the users. Now the next important thing is to basically add and edit text, where a user will just search for different user, that is let's say specific user, let's say John. So we have to create a separate function for that, where we can check from our this array list which contain all the users, and all the user whose name is John will display to the online user, that is to any user who is going to search for someone. So for that, let's just create a separate function quickly by the name, and it will receive a parameter a string type variable which will be by the name str. I mean, we will pass a parameter, a string type parameter basically to our this function, okay? And then the name of the function will be search for users. And let's just copy these two things from here, paste that here, and now we have to create a query on our user reference. So we, instead of just calling it reference, we can just say query users, and it will be the users node, and we have to specifically order by child, and we are going to make a query on our search child. Okay, so we can say search, make sure to use the same spellings, okay, because this is our child name, search dot start str. Now this str will be basically the thing which a user will write in an edit text, the string which a user will write, let's say John, Peter, or any name. You can say dot and str and concatenate this Unicode slash /uf at ff, okay, and then we can say query users dot add value event listener object colon value event listener on data change. Second one is the on cancelled. First have to clear our error list if there is anything in it from before, so just paste this here. And then our for loop, let's just copy this also from here, and we will change it here. So the rest of the thing will basically remain the same. Now here in our search for user function, what we are basically doing, that is, here we are making a query on our this search child, okay. Now this whatever the user type, like let's say John, Peter, or any name user want to search, and we are searching for that specific user, and according to that, let's say if there are 3 users whose name start from John, that is, let's say John Parker, John Peter, John Roberts, whatever is it, so it will basically get that, and it will be saved to our m users array list. And now we have to display our this m user array list, I mean the data which is in it, on our recycler view. So we have to add a recycler view on our this search fragment. So let's just quickly do that. So I'm going to the, and also we have not yet added the edit text, and also we have to call our this search user function. So fragment search, and let's just design this quickly. So all we need is basically an edit text, match parent, wrap content, and then the ID for this, let's give it name as search users et, which means edit text. Let's give it some margin from all these sides, 6 dp, and let's add some hint for the users. So we can say search users, and now we need a recycler view where basically we will display all our items. Okay, so we can say x recycler view widget, this one, match parent, let's give id to this as id, and the id for this will be search list, and it will be below our edit text. Just paste that here. Now quickly come here to the search fragment, and here whatever the user write here inside this edit text, we have to get it. So copy the id of it, come back here, and inside our on create view, after this we can just say search users edit text, make sure to import it by pressing the alt enter button, and then we can add the add text change list object colon text watcher, and it has some built-in method which is before text change, remove the comment, the second on text change, and the other one is after text change. These three built-in function it has basically by default. So we will be using this on text change, which means that whenever the user types something here inside this text view, it will be basically a live search. That is, let's say a user want to search John, the user will type J, and all the users whose name start from J, it will automatically retrieve and display here. So we have to call our function here, which is by the name search for users. And here you can see we have this this built-in function has this char sequence, the object of which is by the name s. You can change this to any name you want, like I'm going to change it to cs char sequence. Okay, so here we can say that cs dot to string dot to lowercase. And now we have to display all these search items on our search list, which is basically our recycler view. So for that, what we're gonna do, we can just quickly add our recycler view here, and then inside our own create view we can say recycler equals to view dot find view by id or dot id dot, and it is by the name search list. Recycler view dot set has fixed size to true. Recycler view dot layout manager linear layout manager. And then come here to the retrieve all users, and after this we have to set our user adapter on our this recycler view. So we can say recycler view dot adapter equals to user adapter. The same here for our search, which is here. More last thing is we can't just add directly add text change listener on our search user et here. Edit text. Let's just initialize it above, and we can just say private, and let's just cut this name from here, and we can give it separate name, which will be by the name search edit text, and it will be of type edit text. Initialize this with a null, and then here we can simply say after this recycler view, that is search edit text equals view dot find view by id or dot id dot, and pass the id, which is search users et, and then we can say search edit text dot add value int listener, sorry, dot add text change listener. And also we have to add a condition where where we are basically retrieving all the users and displaying it on our recycler view. Here you can see we are basically retrieving all our user items, as the user is not searching for any other user. So we are retrieving and displaying it on our recycler view, all the items basically. And this thing will work only if the search edit text is empty. If this thing is empty, if a user do not write anything in it, then it will retrieve and display all the users here. But if a user typing something, then the other function, which is basically our this one, which is we are calling here, which is search for user, this function will be called automatically whenever a user types something in our edit text. So here in our retrieve all user, we have to add a condition. So for that, cut this for loop, control X. First we have to write a condition, that which is search edit dot text dot to string. If this is equals to null, then only in that case we are going to retrieve and display all the users on our search fragment as a suggestions. Okay, but if a user want to search for a specific user, then the user must write something, that is, let's say J, and this function which is search users, it will call automatically since we have added this add text change listener, which will be called automatically whenever a user writes something here in the edit text. One last thing is, by mistake, we forgot to change this PO2 over this snapshot. We got this snapshot in PO.children. So we have to pass our snapshot.getValue. By using the snapshot we can get the value, and also in our this function we can say snapshot.getValue. Now let's just run the application to see if it is working or not. And here you can see it is retrieving all the users as a suggestion on our search whenever we come here to the search. And now if you type for search for specific user, like let's say I'm going to search for, I just write J, and here you can see all the users whose name starts with J. It doesn't matter if it starts from capital J or small j because it is not case sensitive. Okay, I just write small English alphabet which is J, and it retrieve all the user whose name starts from J. Now if you want to search for specific user, I'm going to type in capital letters. Okay, here you can see it, and here you can see it. It is working really nice. This is incredible. And as you know that I am logged in by my own account, which is ALIZEB438, so it is not showing this account here in the search because it is my account and a user cannot search his own account. Let's search for other user. Here you can see it. Even if you write it small English alphabets, then you will see it. So yeah, that's it for this video. And in the next video tutorial, we will be working on the account settings, and we will allow a user to set the profile picture and cover picture.